Hey, you guys, I want to share this message with you really quickly. So, I want to remind you that your response matters. Your response matters. And not only does your response matters, your nonverbal responses matter. Let me take you back to Genesis chapter 18. And in that chapter, we see where the Lord visits Abraham and Sarah. Right? He tells them, look, this time next year or in some time, Sarah is going to have a baby. And, Abraham has his response, but then there's Sarah. There's Sarah. She's in the tent listening to the Lord tell Abraham this. And it says in the text, within her, she laughed. She laughed within. So it wasn't necessarily a boisterous, ha 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 ha, ha yeah, right, type of thing. It was more so like, maybe like a chuckle. But God heard her. So she didn't necessarily utter a word, but he heard her laughter internally. He heard her laughter from within. And so to me, that reminds us that the Lord hears us. It doesn't necessarily have to be us verbally saying something, a statement, but he hears us internally. And so that serves as a reminder that, even when we're just scrolling on social media and it's a post that we come across and we don't necessarily agree with it, or it may be making fun of a person, but we still laugh at it. It kind of still like, wow, that's funny, but I'm not going to like that. I don't want anyone to know that I like that or I found it funny, but you still responded. And God saw that. He hears that. And so it's just a reminder with anything or everything, or with anything that we have a response to, that God is listening. And, he's taking note of the things that catches our ear or catches our attention. So it's also another reminder to be careful about what you listen to. Be careful about the conversations that you entertain, because you just don't know what response is going to provoke. And it may be a response that you don't need to have noted, right? So be careful about your conversations. Be careful about the things that you're watching, you're listening to, because your response matters. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a verbal response, right? As we see in the scripture, God is looking and judging, of course, all of our responses, right? So let's be careful about what gains our attention, because whatever has our attention is going to cause a response in some form or fashion. So I hope this makes sense to you all, and I hope it really just kind of gets you to think about things like that. All right, be blessed.